Okay, so the next project that I'm going to be doing is some recipe cards for my recipe cookbook. And this is the first recipe card I'm going to be sharing with you. In order to make this, you need a 6x6 background paper, and you need a 4.5-inch circle, and then you need your recipe, and this recipe actually measures 5 1/4 by 3 3/4. And then the next thing you're going to need is 2 snowflakes, and you can randomly cut those out from any of your cartridges. And then the other thing, because this one happens to be a peanut butter ball recipe, I am going to make the peanut from the Create a Critter. In the first image you see, and this is all cut out at 1.5 inches. This right here is the shadow. I cut it out in a craft brown. The main base image is cut out in black. The peanut, the main base image, the shifted main base image, is cut out in kind of like a shell, peanut shell color, and it actually has a little bit of embossing to it. And that was a natural embossing. And then there's also the layers. I think this was layer 1, I'm sorry, layer 1, and then layer 2 and layer 3, which this is just the accent to the peanut and the band for the hat. I just added the main base image to the shadow. I just added the first layer on top of the main base image. I just added the hat that was also cut with the main base image. And also the other thing I forgot to say is I did flip this image on the Cricut. I just added layer 2 and 3, which is the hat band and the accent for the body. He is all ready for my recipe card. I just added the snowflakes and the peanut to the bottom of my recipe card, and it is complete. Here's another recipe card that I made. It was pretty simple. I have showed you how to make the turtles in a past video, and this one was cut out at 3/4 of an inch. And then the other thing I did is I used a Martha Stewart punch, which is like the evergreen, and I also did a really thin strip, and I added that to the side of my recipe. And this recipe is also complete. The next recipe card that I made, I used a 12x12 border paper and cut it into quarters, so I had 6x6 pages. And then I also punched out some snowflakes, and I made the snowman. The snowman is from Jolly Holiday, and this is the second snowman in Jolly Holidays cartridge. And the first image you see is the main base image cut in black. The shifted main base image is white, and that's the snowman. And then you see the blue, that's the hat, and that's the layer. And it has 2 tiny little dots that come with it for the buttons in the front of the snowman. And then the next image is the rim to the hat. I also put on here, I used my orange glaze pen to make the snowman's nose, and I punched out 2 snowflakes, and that's just what I'm going to be using for my recipe card. I'll put it together. I just added the shifted main base image to the main base image. I just added the blue layer, which is the hat, oops, and the 2 little buttons on his belly. I just added the hat rim and the little pom-pom at the end of the hat. I just used my orange glaze pen to add his nose, and I dotted the eyes because they were very tiny, and so you couldn't really see them through the paper hole cuts. So for the eyes, I just dotted them with a zig marker. So he's all ready for the recipe card. Just thought I'd share another cookbook cover. This is the exact same pattern that I shared with you earlier, but different paper. Just wanted you to see how it could look with a little bit different paper. And then the inside, I covered it with a poinsettia paper instead of the Santa paper. And that's just another look to the cookbook.